Welcome to our channel. In the past 24 hours, the United States has faced a wave of catastrophic events, from devastating tornadoes to massive wildfires and dangerous chemical leaks. Stay tuned as we break down the top 10 incidents you need to know about right now. Series of tornadoes in southern states. 27 tornadoes, countless lives disrupted. Yesterday, 27 tornadoes tore through the southern states, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. Entire neighborhoods were flattened. Power lines snapped like twigs, and thousands of residents were left in darkness. One resident from Mississippi described the moment the tornado struck. It was like a freight train roaring through. We barely made it to the storm shelter. Emergency services are working tirelessly to restore power and provide shelter for those affected. In some areas, schools and community centers have been transformed into temporary relief shelters, but the scale of the destruction is overwhelming. The death toll remains unclear, but officials fear it may rise as rescue operations continue. Flooding in Texas. Hospital rooftop rescue. Relentless rains in Texas have caused widespread flooding, turning streets into rivers and forcing hundreds of evacuations. One of the most dramatic incidents occurred in a local hospital, where 54 patients and staff members were airlifted from the rooftop as floodwaters engulfed the lower floors. A nurse, recounting the experience, said, "It felt like the end of the world. We could see the water rising and had no way out." Authorities are urging residents to avoid low-lying areas and to remain vigilant as the rain continues to pour. Relief efforts are underway, but the damage to homes and infrastructure is significant. Fire in a New York apartment building. Families displaced by flames. A towering inferno broke out in a New York apartment building late last night, forcing dozens of families to evacuate. Eyewitnesses reported seeing flames leaping from the windows as firefighters battled to control the blaze. "I ran out with my kids, leaving everything behind," said a mother of three. While no injuries have been reported, many residents have lost their homes and belongings. Firefighters suspect an electrical fault may have sparked the fire, but investigations are ongoing. Multi-vehicle accident in California. Highway tragedy claims lives. A devastating multi-car collision on a California highway has left 3 people dead and 12 others injured. The accident occurred during morning rush hour when dense fog reduced visibility to nearly zero. "It was chaos," said a truck driver who narrowly avoided the pileup. Emergency responders worked for hours to free victims trapped in the wreckage. Traffic on the highway remained backed up for miles, and authorities have urged drivers to exercise extreme caution in poor weather conditions. Train derailment in Illinois. Chemical spill forces evacuations. A freight train derailment in Illinois caused a hazardous chemical spill, prompting evacuations in nearby neighborhoods. Officials report that several tankers carrying toxic substances were ruptured in the crash, releasing fumes into the air. Residents were evacuated within a 2-mile radius as hazmat teams worked to contain the spill. "We grabbed what we could and left immediately," said one evacuee. Environmental experts are assessing the long-term impact on the area's ecosystem, and authorities are investigating the cause of the derailment. Earthquake in Alaska. A shaking reminder of nature's power. Alaska experienced a magnitude 5.2 earthquake yesterday, sending tremors across multiple regions. Residents reported feeling the ground sway, but fortunately, no significant damage or injuries have been reported. "It was brief, but it was enough to make us step outside," said a local in Anchorage. Seismologists are monitoring the area for aftershocks and urge residents to stay prepared for potential seismic activity in the coming days. Wildfire in Colorado. Flames consume 500 acres. A fast-moving wildfire in Colorado has scorched over 500 acres of forest and forced the evacuation of nearby communities. Firefighters are battling the blaze from both the ground and the air, but strong winds are making containment difficult. "We had to leave everything behind," said a resident fleeing the fire zone. While no injuries have been reported, several homes have already been lost, and authorities are urging people to comply with evacuation orders immediately. Power outage in Florida. Darkness hits over 50,000 homes. A massive power outage in Florida has left over 50,000 homes without electricity. The outage occurred due to a technical failure in the state's energy grid. Crews are working around the clock to restore power, but officials warn that it may take several days for all areas to be reconnected. "It's been incredibly tough, especially with the heat," said a resident of Miami. The outage has also affected businesses, schools, and hospitals, causing widespread disruption. Chemical leak in Louisiana. Toxic threat forces evacuations. A chemical plant in Louisiana experienced a major leak, releasing dangerous substances into the air. Workers were immediately evacuated, and nearby residents were advised to stay indoors with their windows closed. You could smell the chemicals from miles away, said a local. Hazmat teams are on site, and the plant has been temporarily shut down. Authorities are investigating the cause of the leak and assessing potential health risks to the surrounding community. Snowstorm in Minnesota. Winter chaos in the Midwest. A severe snowstorm blanketed Minnesota, disrupting daily life and travel across the state. Roads were closed, and dozens of flights were canceled as heavy snowfall made transportation nearly impossible. "We haven't seen snow like this in years," said a Minneapolis resident. Emergency services have been inundated with calls for help from stranded motorists. Officials are urging residents to stay off the roads and to stock up on essential supplies as the storm continues to wreak havoc. Building collapse in Detroit. Lives feared lost under the rubble. In Detroit, a derelict building collapsed suddenly, sparking fears that people may be trapped beneath the debris. Emergency responders rushed to the scene, using heavy machinery and search dogs to locate potential survivors. "We heard a loud crash and saw a cloud of dust rising into the sky," said a nearby resident. The building, abandoned for years, was known to be frequented by homeless individuals seeking shelter. "I hope my brother wasn't inside," said one tearful family member. Rescue operations are ongoing, but officials warn that the unstable structure poses a risk to workers. Flooding in Missouri. Towns submerged, residents evacuated. Catastrophic flooding in Missouri has displaced hundreds of families as rivers burst their banks, inundating entire towns. Residents were forced to flee with little more than the clothes on their backs. "We lost everything: our home, our car, even our pets," said a mother of three, standing on higher ground. The National Guard has been deployed to assist with evacuations, and temporary shelters have been set up in nearby schools and churches. The damage to homes and infrastructure is expected to cost millions, and weather forecasts predict more rain in the coming days. Fire at Texas oil refinery. Disaster averted, but damage done. A massive fire broke out at an oil refinery in Texas, sending plumes of black smoke billowing into the sky. Workers were quickly evacuated, and fire crews managed to contain the blaze before it spread to nearby facilities. "It could have been much worse," said a refinery official. While no injuries have been reported, the environmental impact is a growing concern. Local residents have been advised to avoid the area as cleanup operations begin. Toxic release in Ohio. Ammonia leak sparks emergency. In Ohio, a hazardous ammonia leak at a manufacturing plant has prompted warnings for nearby residents. Officials urged people to stay indoors and avoid exposure to the toxic fumes. "We could smell it from inside our house," said a local resident. Hazmat teams are working to neutralize the leak, but concerns remain about potential long-term health risks. The plant has been temporarily shut down, and an investigation is underway to determine what caused the accident. School bus crash in Georgia. Children injured in tragic accident. A school bus carrying over 30 students collided with a truck in Georgia, leaving several children injured. Emergency services arrived quickly, transporting the injured to nearby hospitals. "It was terrifying. The bus flipped, and we had to climb out of the windows," said a 12-year-old passenger. Authorities are investigating the cause of the accident, and parents are calling for stricter safety measures to prevent future tragedies. Landslide in West Virginia. Homes swept away by mud. A powerful landslide in West Virginia has destroyed several homes, leaving families homeless just days before the holidays. "We watched as the hillside gave way and took everything with it," said a resident who barely escaped. Search and rescue teams are combing through the debris to locate missing individuals. The landslide was triggered by heavy rains, and geologists warn that the area remains unstable. Evacuation orders are in place for nearby communities. Fire in Los Angeles Mall. Evacuation chaos in crowded shopping center. Shoppers in a Los Angeles mall were forced to flee as a fire broke out during the busy holiday season. Smoke filled the corridors, and fire alarms blared as hundreds of people scrambled to safety. "I saw people running, leaving their shopping bags behind," said one witness. Firefighters quickly extinguished the blaze, and no injuries have been reported. The cause of the fire is under investigation, but authorities suspect faulty wiring. Airport delays in Chicago. Technical glitch grounds flights. Travelers at Chicago's O'Hare Airport face chaos as a technical malfunction caused widespread flight delays and cancellations. Frustrated passengers crowded terminals, searching for updates and alternate travel plans. "We've been here for 10 hours with no clear answers," said a stranded traveler. Airport officials are working to resolve the issue, but holiday travel plans for thousands of people have already been disrupted. Water treatment plant failure in Arizona. Pollution threatens river ecosystem. A malfunction at a water treatment plant in Arizona has led to the release of untreated sewage into a nearby river, raising environmental concerns. Officials are scrambling to contain the spill, but local wildlife is already showing signs of distress. This is a disaster for the ecosystem, said an environmental scientist. Cleanup efforts are underway, and authorities are urging residents to avoid using water from the affected area until further notice. Severe winds in Oklahoma. Nature's fury leaves thousands in the dark. Powerful winds swept through Oklahoma, toppling trees and power lines, and leaving thousands of homes without electricity. The wind was so strong, it felt like the roof would fly off, said a local resident. Utility crews are working tirelessly to restore power, but some areas may remain in the dark for days. Authorities are warning residents to secure loose objects and stay indoors as more high winds are expected. These stories serve as a reminder of how quickly life can change. Stay informed and prepared for emergencies. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and watch our previous episodes for more updates on the world's most critical events. Stay safe.